Hi everyone, for today's featured ship we're going to be looking at the Danish Hans Hedtoft. This unfortunate ship would be the second ship to be lost on its maiden voyage after striking an iceberg. The very short career of the Hans Hedtoft began in 1958 when the Danish government ordered a ship to be built so it could provide a year-round service with Greenland. This ship had to be ice-toughened and built to handle the rough and cold weather. The Hans Hedtoft was completed and looked very much like a tanker with extended passenger accommodation. Passenger accommodation was 55 in all one class, so first class service, with a crew of 40. Its vital statistics were as follows. The Hans Hedtoft weighed 2,875 gross tons, was 383 feet long, with a beam of 51 feet. Powered by diesels with a single propeller, the Hans Hedtoft could chug along at 13 knots. With a full load of passengers and cargo, 95 people were on board, that's 55 passengers and 40 crew. The Hans Hedtoft, when it's on the return leg of its maiden voyage, when, on the 30th of January 1959, while struggling against a snow squall and 20 feet or 6 to 7 meter high waves, the Hans Hedtoft struck an iceberg. A distress call was sent out, several ships came to render aid, and unfortunately, that's where the story ends, because by the time the ships arrived, the Hans Hedtoft was gone. It had sunk. All on board were lost, and to this day the wreck remains undiscovered. We don't know the extent of the damage, we don't know the circumstances, we don't know the sinking sequence, we know nothing. This disaster plunged the country of Denmark into mourning and remains an unhealed wound in the soul of the country. And if you want to understand more about the impact that the sinking of this ship had on a personal level, then I could not recommend highly the link that is down below to an award-winning documentary about the son of one of the victims of the Hans Hedtoft, and discussing his journey and his attempt at understanding the magnitude of this disaster. Whereas with the survivors of the Titanic, the Carpathia was the hero ship. With the Hans Hedtoft, while many ships came to render aid, there was no savior. The ship sunk, and with such intense weather conditions, all were lost. In English, there isn't that much available regarding the ship. I first came across the Hans Hedtoft in this book, Disasters at Sea, by Milton Watson, and this is the first edition, which was published in the late 80s. There is a second edition with a black front cover that is updated to 1994, so it goes right up to the sinking of the Achille Lauro. You will find scraps of information online as well. Danish sources have more information, of course, and plenty of photos, and a lot of the source images of the animations and digital reconstructions that you've seen have come from Danish sources. But to get a true understanding of the magnitude of this disaster, do check out this documentary. The Hans Hedtoft had barely completed its maiden voyage. It was the second ship to be lost in the 20th century on its maiden voyage after striking an iceberg, and also the fourth ship in the 20th century to have been lost on its maiden voyage. The wreck remains undiscovered, and hopefully with more awareness, more international attention focused on this wreck, there can be moves to finally go and try and find the wreck and provide closure to the families of the 95 victims who went down with this ship.